How's it going? Steven here. Today, these three macro lagers are squaring off in a truel. And instead of drinking it straight from these big fuck-off cans that I've got, I'm gonna serve them in the most pretentious glass I have, because I can. America. There's only room in this town for one of them, so which one will be the last one standing? Your Majesty. Introduced in 1876 by Carl Conrad & Co. in St. Louis, Missouri, and produced by Anheuser-Busch as a subsidiary of AB InBev, not to be confused with the one from the Czech Republic, which has resulted in legal disputes. Known as the king of beers and lagered with beechwood chips, which add little to no actual flavor. Marketing, baby. Made with rice, hops, malt, yeast, and water. Alcohol content is 5%. So lots of people say that they pick up corn on this, but it's not made with corn. So that's kind of an interesting one. Going into this tasting, Budweiser out of the three that we've got is my current favorite, so just letting the bias out now. Though I've never had Miller High Life before. Miller Lite, yes, and it's actually my favorite in the lights, which is coming up. Stay tuned. That also reminds me, I really need to get a Budweiser cap for this down here, but I always get it out of a can. All right, well, let's have a look at it first. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's an American light lager, that's for dang sure. The heads actually stayed around a lot longer than I thought it would. I guess I can see the corn part, but for me, it's mostly the breadiness and a little bit of that like rice character to it. These beers are not designed to have a strong aroma or flavor. They're just supposed to kind of go down, be a little bit sweet, and that's that. So I think the reason I like this one, and maybe my nose has changed for Coors Banquet, but Coors Banquet always smelled very green apple-y to me, and this one doesn't have that. There's not a whole lot hop aroma-wise going on, so all right, cheers. So it really has that rice sweetness to it. It's very firm on the palate. The sweetness is crisp, and my laptop just decided to go to sleep. Really, really crisp, very high carbonation, so it scrubs off quick. It's almost in line with soda. Cleans up very nice. A little bit of lingering sweetness, but yeah, I'm not sure where people get the corn part from. Maybe it's a little bit there, or I've convinced myself that it's there. There's maybe something floral going on there, but it's very difficult to pick up. There is a little bit of apple character, and that usually comes when it warms up a little bit. For American Light Lager, apple is not technically a flaw, even though if it was present in anything else, it would be. It's a lawnmower beer. So, all right, so next up we have Coors Banquet. Introduced in 1873 by Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado, and produced by Molson Coors. Originally, Banquet was a nickname given by Clear Creek Canyon miners, with the name becoming official in 1937. So limited before 1991 and supposedly so delicious, people would smuggle it to other states. Some things never change. Made with corn syrup, hop extract, malt, yeast, and water. Alcohol content is 5%. I really like in this tasting that we have the king of beers and coming up, the champagne of beers, and this is just like, yeah, it's for a banquet, I guess. The least fancy thing. White folding chairs and those white fold-out banquet tables with like a cheap tablecloth over them. I mean, I guess it could be fancy. I guess it depends on who's hosting the banquet. So I wrote down notes for little interesting things about each of these beers. The banquet name came from the miners from the area, and I guess the banquet halls probably were a little bit fancier with what they were used to. I've had this in the past once and was not the biggest fan of it. It actually kept its head a lot longer than I thought it would. Really nice and crystal clear. That is one thing that Coors does really right. Yep, it smells very heavily of green apple. It's right there in your face, wham. It has a similar malt character to the Budweiser, which makes a lot of sense. This one, 4 main ingredients and then corn syrup. I did get a whiff of that corn just now, actually. There's really no hop character to speak of. Let's have a taste. Cheers. It still has the green apple in the finish. It especially punches in the finish part. It's like right on the tip of your tongue. You had the peel of a Granny Smith apple. Like you just had a little bit of that and you popped it on your tongue real quick. Yeah, I don't care for that. I think it intensifies when it warms up too, so I'd have to drink this faster, I think, than the Budweiser. So carbonation it's very high at the beginning, but it really cuts off. This is basically gone right in the beginning. It has a little bit more of a watery character. This one kind of falls apart a little bit about midway through, a little bit more lean. I don't know if it's an intentional way to make the finish seem cleaner, but I guess that's a way to do it. Yeah, it's not my favorite. It was not my favorite going into this. I was hoping that maybe that was just a one-off occurrence. Coors Banquet and I don't see eye to eye, basically. So I wouldn't feel like if it were the only thing available at, let's say I was at a banquet, I'll still drink it. It's still fine. All right, we have our final contender, Miller High Life, which is the only beer in this trio that I have not had before. So this is gonna be a new experience for me. Introduced in 1903 by the Miller Brewing Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and produced by Miller as a subsidiary of Molson Coors. It arrived when the market for bottled beer was kicking off and Miller capitalized. So I guess I messed up. Its high carbonation gained it the nickname and eventual official slogan, the Champagne of Beers. Made with corn syrup, hops, malt, yeast, and water. Alcohol content is 4.6%. This is also the only beer in the lineup that uses the main 4 ingredients, the core 4. It doesn't have any adjuncts. Oh, now reading this, I have to take back what I said. On their website, they say the 4 main ingredients. They list no adjuncts. The can says corn syrup, so apologies. I did research, trust me. And the slogan makes me feel like I should have this in a flute instead of the other pretentious glass that I have here. I think that's probably pushing it. Sup, 4 brewers? Big fan of the cheap beer corner. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's on the same sort of... I feel like this is a little bit more gold, whereas that one was like a paler yellow. Same thing with Budweiser. This has a more like vibrancy to it. Big chunk in bubbles. The other two, most of it was very, very fine bubbles. So it still has that same bready, sweet character. There's a little bit of that crackery, grainy. There's even like a bread crust. It's not even just like the main portion of sliced white bread or something like the other two. There is unfortunately a little bit of that green apple. I'm almost getting like a very faint, spicy, herbally kind of character. Maybe we'll let it warm up a little bit. Yeah, I guess that was just corn then that I was picking up. I thought it wasn't in here, so I was like, am I smelling corn or is this something else that I'm picking up? But yeah, I think that's just what it is. Cheers. More or less the same thing going for it as Coors Banquet does. It's a little less on that green apple kind of character and more on the sweetness. I think this is out of the 3. I think this one's probably the sweetest of the bunch, if not the same as Budweiser. You would think that this one and the Coors Banquet would be closer. I was really expecting this to just like have a whack load of carbonation. It would just like really scrub the palate. For being called the champagne of beer, there's not significantly more carbonation than the other two. I mean, when I opened it and I poured it, there was like, you could hear it like fizzling like it was like soda, but actually drinking it, it's hardly anything more going on. It has a very similar finish to Coors, and I would say probably not as watery. Went into this not having this one before. I thought maybe it would pull through. I thought maybe, oh, this will be the new favorite, and it's not. It's really not. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. So if you enjoyed this, keep your eyes peeled. I'm doing a version on a bunch of light versions of this, plus 1 extra. And as far as the one that I would pick out of the 3 that I enjoyed the most, it looks like, well, it's still the king. If you were having a beer along with me and you're settling in, go ahead and have a look at this video. Cheers, and thanks for watching.